So when broadcasters go into international markets, they can certainly get caught off guard by broadcast regulations in those countries. And sometimes they can be very serious as well in terms of serious consequences for them for lack of compliance. Take for example what happened in Russia earlier when they passed a legislation which said, if you're a foreign broadcaster beaming into Russia, you can generate revenues in one of the ways, right? The two ways generally are you either earn revenues through subscription or you earn revenues through ads. You can't do both in Russia. Now, what do foreign channels getting into Russia do at the moment? Because all the time they've been carrying ads and they've been earning revenues through subscription as well. Or take a more recent example that we see in Sri Lanka for that matter. They're passing a new budget bill for 2017 where they very clearly articulated and proposed that any broadcaster from abroad beaming into Sri Lanka, if you're carrying a foreign ad on your feed, then you will be charged about 50,000 Sri Lankan rupees for every 30-second ad that you carry on your feed. Now, consider the amount of ads that you will cover per day. Maybe you will do about 5 hours of ad spots. So that is 5 into 50,000 rupees, and that's the kind of cost of compliance that you will end up with. So what do broadcasters do in this case? Or even look at examples like Nepal, where very similar legislation but without the financial penalties as such, where international broadcasters beaming into the country are required to provide a clean feed. So that is that you can't carry any foreign ads into these markets. So usually, it could be to build or to strengthen local advertising market, or it could be to control some of the content that's coming from international areas. So generally you have these broadcast regulations coming into picture time and time again, and they can be all of a sudden, and that really puts you off guard as a broadcaster because you've really not planned for this. So what do you do now, right? How do you respond to these new broadcast challenges that are coming into place? The usual method is, people look at setting up a brand new satellite feed, and this can be a very expensive proposition because if you look at some of the markets, they're very small. They may not give you adequate ROI for setting up a brand new satellite feed. So are there ways to bypass these kind of a challenge, right? So for example, can you mask the content that you're carrying, right? Can you mask the ad and replace it with some of the content promos? Or can you create a brand new market for yourself in terms of local advertising? Will you be able to attract local advertisers and get them on board from a regional perspective? Because then you will be able to replace your ads, the foreign ads that you're carrying on your feed, and replace it with more local content and local ads. So this are numerous ways that broadcasters can attack this kind of a regulation problem. More so when you look at these kind of regulations, you should not perceive it as, let's say, limitations to your business. They can also be opportunities to create much more brand new revenue streams. So there are numerous triggers available in the marketplace today. If you want to take your primary feed and then replace with local content, you have SCUDDY 35, Packet 31, DTMF tones, where you take these triggers and at the edge or where you have compliance issues and obligations to maintain compliance, you can replace that content on your primary feed with more appropriate content. So in my view, I think an IRD based solution is a way forward, especially in smaller markets where the revenue potential or the ROI potential for you is not so high vis-a-vis the investment that you will make in setting up a new satellite feed. So Amagi has a patented watermark technology, which is again based on IRD solution that we have on Amagi Storm, wherein you insert invisible, inaudible watermarks on the primary content, and then when you receive the feed at the edge, then you can detect these watermarks and replace it with appropriate local content. So this is a very cost-effective way of dealing with regulatory issues. It's accurate, it's reliable, and it gives you a new revenue stream which otherwise you would have never thought about, because the regulations have given you this entry into a particular advertising market in a country.